ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. I welcome all the devotees for today's Gita Pravaha session. Today we'll discuss the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. This is called Purushottama Yoga, and the yoga of the Supreme Person. This is very small chapter, but very deep chapter. It has only 20 shlokas. So as much as humanly possible, we'll try to recite all the 20 shlokas of this chapter because this is small. Uh, so, in this chapter, Krishna describes the difference between the material world and the spiritual world. And he also describes how and why the living beings, the jivas, transmigrate from one body to another body. And he also describes how he maintains the entire universe with his powers. And at the end, last 4 5 shlokas, he gives a quick summary of all the Vedas. So that's these are 4 short sections in this chapter. First section, from the material world to the spiritual world. Shri Bhagavan urdhmoolamadhasyakham ashwatham prahuravyayam chandamsi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedavit. Krishna compares this material world as an upside down banyan tree. Urdhvamulam adhasyakham. Moolam means root. Shakha means branches. Urdhvamula means root of this tree is upwards. Shakha means branches are downwards. Ashwatham prahuravyayam. There is an Ashwatha vriksha, an Ashwatha tree that has roots upward and branches downward. Chandamsi yasya parnani yastam vedasa vedayit. Means the chandas, means the Vedas, are the parna. Parna means leaves. The leaves of this tree are the Vedas. Yastam se Vedasa Vedavid. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. Basically, it's a reflection tree. Where do you see a tree with roots upside and branches downward? You will see it when you are standing on the shore of a lake where the reflection of the tree is seen in the water. So the original uh, world is the spiritual world, and uh, the reflection of the spiritual world is in the material world. You see all these people here. So here is a person jumping up, and his reflection is seen in the water. Similarly, the spiritual world is the main realm, and the Hare Krishna. We can close the door, please. So the material world is a reflection of this spiritual world. So the reflection of reality. Reality is the spiritual world, and material world is a reflection. So in the spiritual world, there are relationships. Sometimes there are some philosophers who negate, means they see relationships in this world. They think that in the spiritual world there are no relations. There are forms in this world. In the spiritual world, there should not be any forms. Everything is formless. Here there is activity. There should not be any activity. It's all inactivity. So that's how they generate an opposite conception of material world to understand the spiritual world. And thus they feel that spiritual world is empty. Spiritual world has no variety. Spiritual world means no activity, no relations, no forms, no names, no interactions, no relations. They think like that. But the Vaishnava philosophers, they understand that in the material world there is material activity. In the spiritual world there is spiritual activity. In the material world there are material forms made of matter. In the spiritual world there are spiritual forms, Sachidananda forms. In the material world there are material relations, filled with envy, pride, and arrogance, envy, etc. But in the spiritual world, there are spiritual relations devoid of any pride, devoid of any kinds of bad qualities. So, in the spiritual world, there is relationship, there is love and affection between parents and son. Yashoda Mata Nanda Maharaj, they love Krishna as their son. And there is also friendship, Sakhya Bhav. Krishna and all the Gopas are good friends. And there is Madhurya Bhav also. There is love between Radharani and all the gopis and Krishna. So when you come to Vaikuntha, yes, Dasya Bhav is very prominent there. Devotees love Krishna, love Lord Vishnu, and render service to Lord Vishnu as humble servants. This spiritual world is filled with variety, and material world is a reflection of that spiritual world. Here things are temporary, there things are permanent. So it is a reflection tree. So Krishna says further. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रबालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके अधश्च ऊर्ध्वं प्रसृताः तस्य शाखा. So as we discussed, the branches of this tree are downwards and they are spread. Now as the branches are coming down, they are coming down like this, there some are going up also. So all these branches are representing different planets filled with different species. And this tree is nourished by the three modes. Tree needs water, right, for nourishment. But this material world tree, that is nourished by the water of three modes, the sattvagun, rajogun, tamogun, which we discussed yesterday. And the twigs of this tree are the sense objects, vishaya pravalaha. And the secondary roots of this tree blind the whole human society, karma anubandhini. So now how to cut this tree? Basically, we should we should not stick to this reflection tree. We should go to the original tree. How to cut this tree? With the axe of detachment. Sometimes people cut the trees with axes, right? So we need to cut the material tree with the axe of detachment. So what is keeping us in this material world? Our attachment. Our attachment to sense enjoyment, temporary enjoyment found here. But to we can cut that attachment to this material tree with the axe of detachment. So Krishna says, "Na rupamasyeha tathopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishtha ashvathamenam savirudhamulam asangashastrena dridhena chitva ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते. In this material world, uh, the real form of the tree and its beginning, its foundation, where did it begin, all this is not seen. We cannot perceive it. We cannot clearly say. Means material tree is this material world is material tree, but every single living being also is leading a material life. Where did this begin? People can't understand. Uh, just as we cannot understand how this material world itself began, we cannot also understand how did our entanglement in this material world begin in the first place. We cannot trace it back. How did I end up in this material world? What am I doing here? So that is difficult. So Krishna says, you can just cut it. One must cut this strongly rooted tree with the axe of detachment. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Asanga shastra. Shastra means a weapon. Asanga means detachment. Sanga means attachment. Asanga means detachment. And shastra means weapon. So you should cut this tree with the weapon of detachment. Asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Weapon is detachment, and you should have dridha chitva, means determination. We should be committed to this process of cutting this tree. Then tatah padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gata nanivartanti bhuyah. You should go to such a place where you need not come back to this material world again. Tataha padam tat parimargitavyam. You just pursue that path, that spiritual path that takes you to the permanent spiritual world where there is no possibility of returning back. Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. What is the process of attaining that spiritual world, reaching that spiritual world from this temporary material world. What is the process of attaining that Supreme Lord in his abode from where no one can return back to this material world? Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye. You should surrender unto that Purusha, Supreme Purusha. That's why it is Purushottama Yoga. So there is Supreme Purusha Krishna. We discussed right in the 13th chapter, Prakriti Purusha. One Purusha is Krishna. And sometimes the Jiva is also described as Purusha. But the real Purusha is Krishna, not the Jiva. Jiva is actually Prakriti. The Jiva sometimes has Purusha Bhava, but the real Purusha is Krishna. So Purusham Prapadye, you take shelter of that Purusha. Yataha pravritti prasrita purani. So, what is the process of that surrender? Here he clearly says you should give up this material world with the acts of detachment and attempt to go to the spiritual world. And the process of going there is to surrender to Krishna. And what does it mean to surrender to Krishna? Purusham Prapadya means what? Prapadya means surrender. Purusha is Krishna. What is the way of surrendering to this Supreme Lord? Krishna says in the next shloka. Sorry. Oh, there are some many other examples that I have put, but let me tell you one example. This is sugarcane and this is bamboo. They both look similar, right? When you see sugarcane and bamboo, they both look similar. But when you try to bite bamboo to get some juice, you will not get. You may end up breaking your teeth probably. But when you bite sugarcane, you will naturally get some sweetness, right? Similarly, material world and spiritual world, material relations and spiritual relations, they may look somewhat similar sometimes. They may look permanent, but spiritual world is like sugarcane juice, and material world is like bamboo. So we should understand the differentiation. So we should not get carried away by the external show. So coming back to the process of surrender to Krishna, Purusham Prapadya, Krishna says, Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ताः सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढाः पदमव्ययं तत्. Nirmana moha. Nirmana means no false prestige, no false ego. Moha means illusion. Give up illusion. Give up false prestige. Jita sanga dosha. Dosha means fault. Sanga dosha means the fault of attachment to this material world. Jita means conquer it. Conquer the faults of detachment. Basically, conquer the faults of attachment. Basically, be detached. So give up illusion, give up false prestige, and give up material attachment. Three things. Next, Adhyatma Nitya. You constantly be in spiritual consciousness. Adhyatma means spiritual. Be spiritual. Krishna said in the third chapter also, third chapter, 30th sloka. Mayi sanyasya karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasaha. Adhyatma chetasah means spiritual consciousness, not material consciousness. Again, he says adhyatma nitya, daily fixed, be fixed up in your adhyatma. Vinivritta kamaha, give up your kama, material desires. Dvandvair vimuktaha sukha dukkha samyair. Dvandvair vimuktaha means you be detached from all dualities. What are the dualities? We have already seen in the previous chapters multiple times. Heat and cold are dualities on the bodily plane. Happiness and distress are dualities on the mental plane. Honor and dishonor, man and apman, they are dualities on the ego plane. And there is success and failure, victory and defeat. So many dualities are there in this world. You just be relieved from these dualities. Maintain an equanimity towards all the dualities in this world. Don't get overwhelmed by happiness and don't get overwhelmed by distress also. Dvandvair vimuktaha means be freed from all dualities. Sukha dukkha samnair, an example is given. Gacchantya mudhaha padamavyayam. Then gachanti, you will be able to attain. Amudha means one who is not a mudha, one who is very intelligent. Padamavyayam tat, such a person can attain the avyaya pada, means inexhaustible, infallible position in the spiritual world. So when we are weak, we are asked to do two things. Somebody is very physically very weak. Then doctor says, do some exercise and eat proper diet. exercise and diet. When we are weak, to come out of that weakness, to gain some strength, you need to do some exercise and diet. Similarly, when we are spiritually weak, we need to do exercise and take some proper diet. The diet is Shravanam and Kirtanam, and exercise is Seva, right? Then we are spiritually strong. Shravanam and Kirtanam, when we chant the holy names of Krishna, when we hear Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, that is like spiritual diet. And we need to, just eating is not sufficient. We should also do some work. Some physical exercise should be there. That is service, right? Then we can digest it, right? Otherwise, when we only sit and hear, accumulate so much of information and knowledge, we may become proud. We may not be able to digest that knowledge. We may become proud that I know so much. But when we actually start serving, then we'll understand that this service is helping me to digest all the knowledge that I have received. Uh, Otherwise, we may think we know so much, we may feel very proud of our uh, knowledge, and basically, we will not be able to assimilate, internalize, and absorb or realize what we have studied, what we have heard. Shravanam melts the heart. When you hear about the Lord, that completely melts your heart. Once the heart is melted, it has to be reshaped nicely, right? So Shravana melts the heart, Seva reshapes it. And Seva exposes our impurities. Shravanam dissolves them. Means when you are rendering service, our anarthas will come out. How much have we understood our philosophy will be tested when we are rendering service. We may recite this shloka, Trinapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sahishtuna every day. Uh, it's easy to remember, but when we are uh, when we are asked to render some service, how humble we are, how tolerant we are, how respectful we are, all this is tested. You may memorize a shloka, you may even learn its meaning, you may even speak its meaning, but how much have you internalized that meaning is tested when you are rendering service. So seva exposes our impurities, but Shravanam again dissolves it. When we know that we are not yet up to the mark, then what happens? Again, we'll go back and hear some Harikatha. Then that will dissolve that impurity. That will give us inspiration to rise above those impurities. Therefore, we need to do Seva also. Shravanam and Seva. Spiritual diet and spiritual exercise. Then we are ready for the spiritual world. And what is the nature of spiritual world? Krishna says in the next sloka. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम paramam mama. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो. Surya means the sun doesn't shine there in that spiritual world. And na shashanko. Moon also doesn't shine. Na pavakha. There is no electricity also. What does it mean? Uh, it only means that spiritual world is self-effulgent. It does not mean that spiritual world is dark because there is no sun, there is no moon, there is no electricity. So in this material world which is completely dark, sun, moon, electricity or fire must illuminate, right? Must give some shine. If sun is not there, moon is not there, then fire is not there, we cannot see anything. Although our eyes are functioning properly, we need sun and moon to see something, right? But in the spiritual world, everything is self-effulgent. You don't need a sun or a moon or electricity to illuminate something because everybody is self-effulgent. When Krishna lifted Govardhan mountain, uh, there is darkness everywhere, there is rain everywhere, and even Anantasesh is coming and coiling around this uh, periphery of Govardhan mountain, completely blocking. Then all the Brajavasis are caught inside. Was there some floodlights there inside? No. But everybody is able to see everything because they have self-effulgent bodies. Spiritual world means it is self-effulgent. Yet, in the spiritual world, there is sun, there is moon, there is fire, only to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Right? There's some. They facilitate Krishna's pastimes. They render some service, but it's not that the illumination in the spiritual world is dependent on their existence. Anyways. Spiritual world is such a place where sun and moon and fire need not exist. Yad gatva nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Once you go there, you need not come back to this material world. That is the Paramadhama, the supreme abode of Krishna. Clear? Then, transmigration. In the second section, Krishna talks about transmigration of living entities. So far, what did he speak? He described the material world, he described the spiritual world, he also told us the process of going from here to there. Clear? The next point. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति मम एव अंशो जीवलोके. All the jivas are my amshas. We are Krishna's parts. He is spiritual, we are also spiritual. He is like an ocean, we are like a drop of ocean. He is like big fire, we are like sparks of fire. So ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः. But manah shashtani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Somehow they are caught up in this mana, mind, and different senses, and Prakriti's material world. Although they are spiritual in nature, they are parts of Krishna, they are amshas of Krishna, they are somehow caught up in the material bodies made of material senses, Prakriti, mind, intelligence, ego, etc. That's a condition of the conditioned soul here. So, when we become disconnected from Krishna, whatever we do boils down to one thing: struggle. Prakritistani karshati. Krishna used the word karshati. Karshati means struggle. Prabhupada says, when we are disconnected from Krishna, then everything is karshati. So we need to recognize our spiritual identity, channelize our activity, and spiritualize our destiny. So when you channelize your activities to spiritual activities, then you can shape your destiny nicely by going to the spiritual world. That's the proper use of independence. But many times people misuse their independence, they are caught up in this transmigration cycle. Shariram yadavapnoti yachapyutkramatishvaraha grihitvaitani samyati vayurgandhan ivashayat. Vayurgandhan ivashayat means this soul who is spiritual in nature keeps changing bodies, goes from one material body to another material body. How is it happening? The mind carries the soul from one material body to another material body, or in other words, subtle body carries the soul from one material body to another material body. All the conceptions of life that are carried in the mind, uh, they take us to a different life. Just as air carries aromas, mind carries the soul from one place to another place. Why? The mind is a storehouse of so many material impressions, material desires, material aspirations. To fulfill those aspirations, the jiva takes up another form. If while in the while in the human form, if somebody desires to eat unlimited meat, flesh, then that desire cannot be fulfilled in human body sufficiently, because human body has a limited capacity. It's not meant for eating the flesh of people. So next life, this soul will get a tiger body or a lion body, where he can happily enjoy meat, only meat, no vegetarian food. So that's how desires will shape our future lives, future destinations. Mhm. Then, ninth sloka, Krishna says, that's how the jiva takes up more and more bodies. Shrotram chakshuh sparshanam cha rasanam granameva cha adhishtaya manasyayam vishayan upasevate. Shrotram, the soul will develop new ears. Chakshuh, new eyes. Sparshanam, new sense of touch. Rasanam, new tongue. Granam, new nose. So all the new senses are formed because of this new body. That's how the soul is entering into multiple bodies. Then Krishna says, many points in the purport. Prabhupada says, real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When therefore one is situated in Krishna consciousness, he is in his pure life. But if his consciousness is adulterated by some type of material mentality, in the next life, he gets a corresponding body. So, real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. So, next. उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यन् अकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः. So Krishna says, Utkramantam stitam vapi. This quitting of body and staying in another body and again going to another body, bhunjanam va gunanmitam, and enjoying or not enjoying, experiencing all material pleasures or material pains in the new bodies. Vimudha nanupashyanti. Foolish people cannot understand this. Foolish people will just go with the flow. They don't understand that, oh, I am changing this bodies unnecessarily. I am being kicked from one species of life to another species, one planet to another planet, one country to another country, one family to another family. They can't even realize that they are transmigrating. Why am I changing bodies? Can I get a permanent body? Why am I getting disease? Can I have a spiritual body or eternal body where there is no disease, no birth, no old age, no death? So people can't realize that they are undergoing a lot of pain. Vimudha na anupashyanti. But who can understand this? Who can understand this whole cycle of transmigration? Pashyanti gnana chakshushaha. Gnana chakshu, those who have eyes of knowledge, they can see. Naive people, people who don't have proper spiritual understanding, they don't even believe in the existence of soul. They don't believe in the existence of God. They don't understand that the soul transmigrates from one body to another body. They think that as long as I'm in this body, I have to enjoy. That's all. That's the only philosophy they know. But some people, some amongst them, they say, oh, as long as we are in this life, we should be good, we should do good, we should be good. Fine. But there are some people, forget good and bad. Somehow or the other, you should enjoy. That's all. There is only one life. There's only one life or jindagi. You should just happily enjoy it by hook or crook. That's their philosophy. But pashyanti gnana chakshushaha. Those who have eyes of knowledge can see what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is bad, what is spirit, what is matter, and how spirit is entering matter, how spirit can disentangle oneself matter. All that devotees can understand. Yadanto yoginaschainam pashyanti atmanyavasthitam. These transcendentalists, these spiritualists, they are situated in spiritual realization, self-realization nicely. But those who have impure consciousness, akritatmano, they cannot see what is right and what is wrong. So, this is about the soul's transmigration. We have 2 points, 2 sections today. First, the difference between the material and spiritual worlds and the process of going from material world to spiritual world. Second, we have seen the condition of the conditioned soul in this world. Although he is an amsha of Paramatma, amsha of Krishna, still he is entangled in this material body. Clear? Now, let's go to the next section, starting from the 12th shloka. In this section, Krishna talks about his maintenance, how he maintains the entire universe. Without him, universe cannot be maintained. Yadadityagatam tejo jagadbhasayate khilam yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidhimamakam. Krishna says, Yadadityagatam tejo, I am the source of light of sun and moon and fire. Earlier, Krishna said, Natad bhasayate suryo na shashanko na pavakaha. In the spiritual world, illumination doesn't come from sun, moon, or fire. Now he says, the illumination that comes from sun, moon, and fire in this material world is actually coming from me. He is the source of the light of the sun and moon and fire that dissipates the darkness in this world. In 13th sloka, he says, I enter into each planet and by my energy I sustain all living beings. So Krishna creates these planets. Krishna creates the sun and moon and fire in this planet. And he enters each planet. In fact, he enters every single atom and gives it the necessary quality. Like, for example, Krishna is there in water. Therefore, we have taste in water. Krishna is there in sun. Therefore, sun is producing heat and light. Krishna is there in earth. Therefore, earth has some fragrance quality. Krishna is there in all strong people, therefore they are strong. So we have seen it in the 7th chapter also, 10th chapter also, many places. Krishna is saying something similar again. He says, I sustain all living beings by entering into each planet and each atom for that matter. I become the moon and supply the juice of life to all plants and vegetables. All the plants and vegetables and fruits, they get that juice from the moonshine. And that moonshine is Krishna. We get warmth and heat and light from sunshine, and that sunshine is Krishna. We can cook our food uh, with fire. That fire is Krishna. The heat of the fire is Krishna. The light of the fire is Krishna. And once you eat the food will get digested. And the digestive fire inside our body is also Krishna only. Krishna says, you can't eat food without me, and you can't even digest the food without me. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktah Pacham Yannam Chaturvidham Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. There is a Vaishvanara fire within our bodies. Sometimes there's some Ayurvedic medicines they call Vaishvanara Bhasma, something like that. They give some Vaishvanara medicine so that your digestive fire will increase. So, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah. I stay within the bodies of all living entities and become the digestive fire and help them digest the food. Prana Pana Samayuktaha. Prana, there are prana vayus in the body, there are apana vayus, means airs that are going upwards and going downwards in the body. There are 10 types of airs. I don't remember their names now, but there are 10 types of airs. Prana, Pana, Vayus. So Krishna becomes like that. Pachami annam chaturvidham. Pachami means digestion. I will help you digest the food that you are eating. 4 types of food we will eat. Chaturvidham means 4 types of food. Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavad Prasado. We sing every day, right? In the morning, Chaturvidha Sri Bhagavad Prasado. At that time, those who are sleeping also will wake up. Bhagavad Prasado. Uh, so, Krishna says, Chaturvidha. There are 4 types of food you are eating. I will help you digest food. What are the 4 types of food? Bhakshya, chewed food, rice. You chew it. Second, Bhojya, sipped food, liquids. Third, Lehya, liquid food like honey. Fourth, Choshya, sucked food like fruits, mango, right? So there are 4 types of food that we eat. Krishna becomes the digestive fire within our bodies and helps us to digest all these kinds of foods. Without Krishna, we cannot eat food, we cannot digest food also. Next sloka. We are not independent in eating and digesting also. There are so many beautiful points in the purport. Our existence in this world depends depends on someone who is beyond this world, beyond the material. That is Krishna. Next, 15th shloka. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto mattah smritirjnanamohanam cha vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyo vedanta kridveda videva chaham. I hope you are getting the flow. We are in the 3rd section of this chapter where Krishna says that he is the maintainer of this entire universe. He acts as a maintainer from outside and from inside, both. From outside, he maintains us by becoming the sun, moon, fire, etc. And from inside, he maintains us by becoming the digestive fire, grossly. But subtly also, he maintains us from inside by becoming Paramatma, super soul. He gives us knowledge, he gives us remembrance, he gives us forgetfulness. And that's how he maintains us. Maintenance is in both ways, inward and outward. Here in this shloka, Krishna says, Sarvasya cha aham hridi sannivishto. I stay within the hearts of all living entities as Paramatma. Mattaha, from me comes smriti, means remembrance. Jnanam means knowledge. Apohanam means forgetfulness. Yes, we remember because of Krishna, that's great. We get knowledge because of Krishna, that is also great. Apohanam, why should we forget? Why Krishna gives forgetfulness to us? Krishna has to give. Krishna has to erase certain memories that we have. So sometime back I was saying, a staunch meat eater, one who is addicted to eating meat, may get a tiger body in the next life or a lion body in the next life. If this tiger or lion remembers that in my past life I was a king, then the tiger cannot function as a tiger. So all of us must identify ourselves with our current position. Then only we can function smoothly in this new identity. But if we remember our old identity, we'll have identity crisis. We won't be able to connect with the new people, new family, new place we are in. We are all constantly thinking about the past. Oh, what happened? What happened? I should go back to my previous position. Mm. Especially when the previous position is better than the current position, right? Naturally, we want to go back to the better position than this new bad position. And most people who transmigrate from one body to another body by committing sinful activities, their position gets degraded life after life. And some people, of course, they evolve nicely, but many people they get degraded. So one who is in living a degraded life remembers his past better life. He wants to go back there, and he regrets, and many things happen. But of course, Krishna also gives remembrance of past life sometimes, if it is required for their spiritual advancement. For example, Bharat Maharaj, he was a great devotee in the past life. Because of some distraction and attraction towards a deer, he became a deer in the next life. But after becoming a deer, he remembered his past life. He felt guilty. Oh, why did I become so attached to the deer? I became a deer now. But that remembrance intensified his remembrance of Krishna, and he became more serious in spiritual life. And deer, deer Bharat is more spiritually advanced than King Bharat. And later he became Jada Bharat. He is even more spiritually advanced than deer Bharat also. Then later he went to spiritual world, right? So sometimes he gives, but most of the times he makes us forget our past life. Vedaischa sarvair ahamaiva vedyo means by studying all the Vedas, we need to know Krishna only. Very clear. The purpose of studying Vedas is to know Krishna. When we say Krishna, Krishna, Krishna 100 times, people question, why are you saying always Krishna, Krishna? Krishna is saying in this Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. By studying all the Vedas, I am to be known. The purpose of all Vedic knowledge is to know Krishna. Vedaischa sarvair aham eva vedyo. Vedanta Krit, who compiled those Vedas? I compiled, Krishna says. Veda Videva Chaham, who knows the Vedas properly? I know the Vedas. So Krishna says, Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. I am the one who created the Vedas, uh, originated the Vedas, and I am to be known by studying all the Vedas. Now, what is the summary of those Vedas? Krishna gives in the last few shlokas of this chapter. Dvavimau purushau loke ksharakshakshara evacha ksharah sarvani bhutani kutasthoksara uchyate. There are two types of people in this world, Kshara and Akshara. Kshara and Akshara, two types of people. So, what is this Kshara and Akshara? Kshara means fallible people, means those who deviate from their true nature. What is the true nature of a living being? Jivera Swarupahe Krishna Nityadas. Being a servant of Krishna is our true nature. But Kshara people are fallible people, they deviate from the true nature of their servitude to Krishna. And there are Akshara people. Akshara means infallible people. They don't deviate. They are fixed up in their great position. Always they identify themselves as servants of Krishna. Fallible people, infallible people. Ksharaha sarvani bhutani, in this material world, all the Kshara people are there. Material world is filled with fallible people. But Kutastho Akshara Uchyate. The spiritual world is filled with infallible people. They never fail. And they never fail to uh, render service to Krishna. They never identify themselves as something other than Krishna, other than Krishna's servants. Next, 17th sloka. But there is another personality who is beyond this Kshara and Akshara people. You know who is that? Paramatma. Uttamaha purushastvanyah paramatmetyudahritah यो लोकत्रयमाविश्याभिवर्त्यव्यय ईश्वरः. He is Avyaya Ishvaraha. Paramatmeti Udahritaha. He is called Paramatma. So, above this Kshara and Akshara living entities, above this fallible and infallible living beings, there is a superior personality. He is Paramatma. And Yolokatrayamavisha, this Paramatma enters into every single nook and corner of these three worlds, and he maintains this world. Vibharti Avyaya Ishvaraha, that inexhaustible Lord, he maintains all the three worlds. Got it? Three people, three types of people: Kshara, Akshara, Paramatma. Fallible living beings, infallible living beings, and Paramatma, the supreme living being. And who is this Paramatma? He is a replica of Krishna. He is an expansion of Krishna. Krishna says in the next shloka. यस्मात्क्षरमतीतोऽहम् अक्षरादपि चोत्तमः अतोऽस्मि लोके वेदे च प्रथितः पुरुषोत्तमः. One who is superior to Ksharam and Aksharam living entities, and even the Paramatma is Purushottama Krishna, who is the source of Paramatma. So, Krishna is like sun, and Paramatma is like reflections of sun everywhere. Just a crude example, right? So, Krishna expands himself, although Krishna is one, he expands himself into so many Paramatmas, enters into the hearts of all living beings to sustain them, to maintain them, right? But I am the transcendental, superior to both fallible and infallible living entities. I am the Purushottama. Now, last two shlokas, Krishna says to conclude this chapter. Yo mamevamasambudho janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. This is the conclusion. Once you understand that Krishna is Purushottama, janati purushottamam, such a person is asammudha, one who is not deluded, one who is not confused. So sarvavid bhajati mam, such a person will do bhajan of Krishna, worship of Krishna with everything that he has. Sarva bhavena bharata, he will invest all his emotions on Krishna only. He will develop a deep bonding and love and affection for Krishna. Once you understand that Krishna is the source of everything, source of Paramatma, source of Atma, source of Duratma, Mahatma, everyone. Finally, iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syat kritakrityascha bharata. This is guhyatamam shastram. This is a very confidential scripture. So Krishna says, oh my dear Arjuna, I spoke this confidential part of Vedic scriptures. Whoever understands this with their knowledge, etad buddhva buddhiman syat. One who understands this is really buddhiman and he becomes successful. He becomes perfect. He becomes kritakritya. So that is the success of life. Success of life is to understand Krishna, is to surrender to Krishna. So this chapter concisely presents the conditioned soul's existence in the material world itself, and also the process of entering the spiritual world and the nature of spiritual world and the Lord of the spiritual world, and how that Lord maintains us whether we are in spiritual world or in the material world. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.